Good Monday evening to you. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. We're going to review today's weather. We're going to talk about the next few days, of course. And as always, we'll talk a little bit about the longer range tonight. Some good news for those, like myself, who are pretty tired of the heat and humidity. It was stifling out there today with temperatures in the low 90s and dew point temperatures in the lower 70s today. The official number at the airport today was 91. Not like it was back in 1988 when it was 100 degrees on today's date. 67 is where we started this morning. By the way, look at that record low. That was just a few years ago. It was 46 degrees in the middle of July. Boy, wouldn't that be something? That was one of our cool recent summers back in 2015. Not quite as cool as the summer of 2014, but 2015 wasn't that warm either. And you'll see what I'm talking about a little bit here with our 90-degree days. We hit our 10th one today. We had back-to-back 90-degree days. We had a 90-degree day yesterday. It hit 92. Today's high was 91, and we've doubled up 2017's total of 5. Of course, we're not going to be anywhere near the record of 40 back in 1931 and 1943. You know, in a lot of categories, those summers in the 30s and 40s are untouchable in the record book. It's pretty remarkable at this time of the year when I see a daily record high that isn't from like 1936. Today's record from 1988 is an exception. Most of our records this time of the year are from the Dust Bowl days back in the 30s. And yeah, notice 2014 we had no 90-degree days that year. So we've had more 90-degree days this year than any year since 2012 pretty easily. Well, we need some rain. We've gotten some rain in some spots, but this is a look at the last 2 weeks versus average, where you see these yellow colors. You know, we're getting pretty close to 2 inches below average through the first half or so of the month of July. But over the last 24 hours, between the downpours that we had here and there last evening and what we've had this evening, some places have picked up a pretty good drink of water. Some Doppler radar estimates here. 1.5 inches down towards Lisbon, kind of between Lisbon and Salineville. Now, between last night's downpours, which impacted parts of Mahoning County, and this afternoon's, mostly around the Poland area and heading down towards New Middletown and over towards Lowville, this is kind of our bullseye. Some Doppler radar estimates here of upwards of 2 inches between last night's downpours and today's. So healthy amounts of rain there. We've also had quite a bit of rain this afternoon, and hence the flood advisory that was issued by the Weather Service for the Sharon area late this afternoon. It expires at 8:30. Probably an inch worth of rain in a little over an hour in Sharon and Hermitage and Sharpsville, places like that. Let's look at the last several hours. I think I did a 4-hour loop here. These storms bubbled up over Columbiana and Mahoning counties, then really started to kick into gear once they neared the state line. Dropped a lot of rain, some really vivid lightning in southeastern Trumbull, western Lawrence, eastern Mahoning, and then into western and northern parts of Mercer County. This also had some wind with it. When we look at the wind over the last several hours, let me actually roll through this a little slower. I'll actually zoom in. We see some of these brighter reds that started to appear in Mahoning County and then rolled up through far northwestern Lawrence County and into western and central Mercer County, where that bright red spot is right there. Not severe winds probably, but certainly some 30 to 45 mile per hour gusts. Distinctly possible where we got some of those brighter reds earlier on today. These storms also produced some hail, especially once they exited our TV viewing area. When I did Weather Geeks this evening at 7:11 p.m., there's still an active warning up in Crawford County. Pretty good hail core up there. Any hail that was mixed in with our heavy rain, you know, sometimes our hail algorithm is a little off, and I doubt there was much more than pea-size hail around the Girard area, as indicated by our hail algorithm here. It probably looks a little more impressive on the radar than it was in reality. All right, very, very muggy today, but look what's going on to our north and west. There's the drier air that's coming in. During the day tomorrow, we're going to say goodbye to this Florida air mass. And this kind of air mass probably is not going to be around again until maybe August. Talk about the longer range in a second. In the meantime, in the short term, we may not be done with the rain just yet tonight. Another round of showers and storms, a distinct possibility as we go towards late evening into parts of the overnight. Good news for tomorrow morning's rush hour, though. I think the rain's pretty much out of here by 6, 7 a.m. at the latest. And as our cold front rolls through, we're going to start to notice the change. These soupy dew points will be with us all night and with us first thing tomorrow morning. But watch what happens. Whoosh, by lunchtime. Dew points will drop maybe as much as 20 degrees in some spots between the daybreak period and about lunchtime or early afternoon on Tuesday. And dew points will stay in those cozy 50, kind of the cozy 50 to 55 range, maybe even briefly dipping into the upper 40s through Wednesday and Thursday. So we've got 3 consecutive great afternoons on the way. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's our front pushing east. High pressure will nudge in, and we'll probably see some fair weather cumulus clouds on Wednesday. It's probably not a perfectly sunny day on Wednesday, but still a very nice day. Thursday's the day where I think we'll have that kind of not a cloud in the sky type of a deal. Just a fantastic Thursday with low dew points. Look at these dew points. These are afternoon dew points. Again, falling tomorrow, hovering in the low 50s on Wednesday, maybe even upper 40s to around 50 on Thursday. But then we get a pretty abrupt air mass change as we go towards the weekend. Now, it's not going to get as horribly humid as today did, but well up into the 60s for dew points Friday. And over the weekend, and no surprise, with a disturbance pushing through and tapping into that moist air, we'll probably see some rain over the weekend as well. As far as temperatures, though, we've probably seen our last 90 of July. Only one warmer than average day in my current 7-day forecast. That's Friday. We right at average tomorrow, and again on Thursday, and again on Saturday. Our average, of course, 82 at this time of the year. Next week, we hit the day where our average drops from 82 to 81, beginning the process that takes us into the deep darkness of winter a half a year from now. But let's worry about that when we get there. In the meantime, the cooler pattern is not a cold pattern. It's not a pattern that's going to produce very unusually chilly July weather. It's just a pattern that's going to be much more typical of the season. The cool anomalies probably are centered in the medium and longer range up across the upper Midwest. And for us, I think we see a lot of seasonable days late this month. A lot of days with highs in the upper 70s, lower 80s. The heat recenters itself across the Southwest and the West Coast as well. Now, the lack of rain lately has been the other story. And not only is this a cooler pattern, it's probably a somewhat wetter pattern as well. Is it super wet? No, but I think we're probably going to see a few rounds of showers and storms Friday, Saturday, against Sunday, probably into Monday as well. And in the 8 to 14 day period, if we have kind of a long wave trough of low pressure kind of parked like this over parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, that's probably a storm track that will be pretty active for us with probably several chances to see some beneficial wet weather. We're not in a drought. But if this kind of pattern were to continue for a few more weeks, we probably would be. It's getting crispy and brown on a lot of lawns out there. A lot of gardens are thirsty. Thankfully, we're going to nip this in the bud and get into a cooler and probably more unsettled pattern for a while as we go through the second half of July and maybe even into early August. That's it for the Monday Night Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll see you back here for more nerdy, geeky weather action Tuesday evening.